Okay, another quick video. Well, might not be quick, depends how much I add to it, to be fair. But this is the Dell Optiplex project. It's finished. I've just turned the lights off a bit just so you can see my fetching green LED additions that I've made to it. Let me just take the side case off. I've done upgrades to it since the other breakdown video, but I mean, you're not going to see anything really different looking in the case from a CPU upgrade and a memory upgrade, but at least you can see the LEDs. I was going to put a perspex cage on there as well, but I don't know, I quite like it with the standard window on there, but I do quite like it as a standard, to be honest, with a nice green coming out of the grill. I haven't really got round to tidying the cables up properly yet, but what I've done is I bought from a company called Overclockers in the UK a magnetic strip. So it's literally, you just put it where you want in the case. There is green LEDs. I'm just looking at the camera, sorry. There is green LEDs coming out of the graphics card, so I wanted to keep that theme. And you just put it where you want. There's a bit there so you can put another, I ain't sure how the camera's coming here. There's a bit there so you can basically plug another one in, so you can have multiples. And it's just connected via a little tab there, which goes, I think that goes into a Molex, which then obviously goes into your power supply. So pretty straightforward. But yeah, I just wanted to finish off the Optiplex build project, just tarting it up a little bit, but I didn't want to go too crazy with it. So I just literally thought, yeah, we'll slam some LEDs in. I bought some perspex, but I don't think I'm going to bother putting it on. But the completed build now with the upgrades, which is an i7 4770K, and it's now got 16 gigabytes of 1600 megahertz RAM, and then the LEDs and everything, and the GTX 1070, which I already had, and brand new solid state power and power supply. That all comes to £340 for the total build. If I was to put the perspex window in, that'd come to 350. But yeah, cosmetically, I quite like it as it is. So I don't really see any need to spend any more time and money messing around with it. It's not my main computer. Okay, right, on to the benchmark results, comparing the i5 I started off with compared to the i7. So previously I had the i5 45670, and you can just see there a few bits and pieces from the benchmark, but essentially, according to Userbench, for gaming purposes, they were rating it at 54%. There's a few differences, I think, with the memory. I was putting through roughly 20 gigabytes a second on the memory, but when I put that up to more memory on that chip, that didn't like it. It was slower. Then when I move on to the i7, obviously that's saying 60%, so it's a bit better for gaming, but I would say that seems like that's more than the percentage difference on here, and you're still getting the same amount of throughput despite twice as much memory because of the stronger CPU. If we were to move on to some of my other benchmarks, I've got Firestrike. So that was my Firestrike result, just with the card not overclocked and the i5. So 11879, which then I overclocked the card That took it up to 12685, and that was as far as I could overclock the card. I couldn't get it to go. I could overclock it more, but what would happen was the scores and things would go down, because basically the CPU just weren't making use of the extra that the card was putting through. Although I probably could have pushed the memory clock a bit higher, but I didn't bother to try it, to be honest with you. And then we get Firestrike i7. What I done here, so the score's even higher still, I actually underclocked the card a little bit, just to because I didn't realise how much this card's overclocked standard. So if it was running on the base settings that a reference GTX 1070 would have, that is the clocks that you'd actually have. But you can still see that's still significantly higher score even than the overclocked card with the i5. And then when we go to, and there you go, when you overclock the card, it goes even further again. So I managed to push the clocks quite a bit higher this time, finishing off at a score of 14438. I think as a percentage overall going for the i7 processor, that would have got me, hang on, I've got to work it out off the top of my head here. What are we looking? Probably about 10 to 15% improvement on that particular benchmark. What else did I use? I think I used Time Spy. What have I got here? Time Spy. No, that's not Time Spy. So that was Time Spy just with the graphics card and everything standard with the i5. And I can't remember if I did. That was Time Spy again with the i7, but the graphics card set back down to its reference clocks. So what's that? 5419 versus still an alright difference there. And then when you go to Time Spy, that's quite a decent jump up there. You're talking, what, again, about 17-18% improvement on what I was getting with the i5, admittedly without the card fully overclocked, but to what I could do. But there you go. What else did I use? I think that was it. These other benchmark results were pretty much, I have got some other benches, hold on, them other ones there were pretty much done more for stability as much as anything else. But if I go on to my profile, oh, actually I had it there. Go back. Yeah, that was as far as I could push it with the i5, and I overclocked the card somewhat, so it got a score of 4087. And then what I did is I kept pushing the, I'll just double check that was with the i7. Yeah, so that was the i7 again, and I think I kept the card at the same clocks as I had it with the i5, and already look, there's a decent jump up in score there. And I kept pushing it and pushing it as far as I could, and that took us all the way up to 4578. So if you called it 4.1, again you're about a 12-13% increase, but that was almost on the edge of bottleneck in there, even with the i7, because I was moving the clocks up a little bit more and it just weren't getting any more score. But I think it was on the edge because I did get a few artifacts on the screen. But there we go. That's a few benchmark results. just to give you an idea of the difference between an i5 and an i7 in a Dell Optiplex. And as I've said before, when I did the build video, I still wouldn't pay a lot of extra money to get the i7, purely because you're not going to get a good i7. You're better off probably getting a cheaper unit